Also, we've had the Michigan State and Rutgers football team have had to go into quarantine due to COVID-19. So we know this is something that we cannot take for granted, and that we must continue to be diligent and continue to keep ourselves safe and not impacted by COVID-19. We have some special guests tonight from the Broward County Athletic Offices. We got Mr. Shaun Cerra, Mr. Rocky Gillis, and Mr. Ty Thompson. We'd like to thank them for joining us and being a part of this meeting with the BFOA tonight. We also we enjoy them and will gladly have them with us at any time. So with that being said, the next voice you will hear will be Shaun Cerra from the Broward County Athletic Offices. So Shaun, go ahead.
Thank you, Tyrone, and I really appreciate you having us this evening. I am joined with Rocky Gillis and Ty Thompson. Tyrone, we really appreciate your leadership, and I know that you and I have been in contact, and we, applaud your board and Vince for just doing everything you can for your membership. Before I get started, I wanted to bring to your attention, many of you guys obviously have been around as officials at, not only in football, but in other sports. And this past week, we lost what I consider a living legend as an athletic trainer in Jimmy Jefferson at Stranahan High School. Unfortunately, he was on his way to visit his mom, and while he was in the car, I've been told that he had a heart attack and passed away. And then to even further that, unfortunately, the longtime athletic director at J.P. Terraville High School, Jason Stein, is currently in the hospital with double pneumonia, COVID, and fighting the good fight to get back to his family. So as it was mentioned at the very beginning by Tyrone, that we all have been impacted in some way, shape, or form with COVID. We're at that point now where we have unfortunately had someone close to us, whether it's someone within our family or a friend or just an acquaintance. We've all been impacted at this point. And I'd ask the board and the membership if we could give a 15-second moment of silence for the memory of Jimmy Jefferson, who, like I said, was an athletic trainer at Stranahan, someone that over my years as the director of athletics and the principal at Terraville, every interaction I had with him was always a very positive one. He is someone that truly left his mark on everyone that he impacted. I had just an endless smile, and he was sorely missed. And then also, let's keep Jason Stein, now that he's in the hospital and trying to recover, let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers as well. Thank you. At this time, I'm just going to ask for a 15-second moment of silence. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Like I mentioned, I'm with Rocky Gillis, our high school athletic director, and Ty Thompson, principal on task assignment. Just to update the board and the membership, we presented for the very first time to Mr. Runcie and the cabinet way back in April. We've been working this countless hours to prepare for some semblance of a season. We have been working consistently, not only with the health and wellness experts in Broward County. We meet with them every Thursday at 12:30 for about an hour. But we also have a principal task force, an athletic director group, an athletic trainer group. We actually have a group of leaders within district that we're consistently meeting with once a week. We also have been in close contact and have had weekly conversations with the administration in Dade County and West Palm Beach. Initially, we were looking to start voluntary workouts on June 29th. The goal was to bring our fall sports back, but that was well before the COVID-19 numbers started to really drastically increase. and there was a tremendous uptick of people getting infected. We did postpone or push back the launch date 3 times. And at this point, we're very much in pause mode. We have been monitoring what's going on up in Gainesville with the FHSAA. As you know, or may have heard a couple of weeks ago, on a Monday, they voted 10-5 to start practices for fall sports across the state on the 27th of July, which was this past Monday. Fortunately, they came to their senses 3 days later. I'm sure after they received quite a few calls, emails, and people even dropping by the office, and they changed position 11-4 to delay until August 24th. What does that mean for us in Broward? We're, like I said, we're monitoring this day to day. I mean, we start early in the morning, we go late at night. We're all working at home. None of us are going to the office, but there is no end to the day per se, because we are very committed to making sure that when we do go back, that the athletes, the coaches, the school administration, the personnel that is there on a daily basis, and you guys, our officials, are going to see. Like I mentioned, the state has a set a date of August 24th. They're supposed to meet next week, the week after, or maybe a combination of both to reevaluate that. Every medical expert that I've talked to has strongly recommended that we wait until we get to that 5%. They recommend that we wait until we get to that 5% threshold of people tested and those coming back as positive. That is pretty much the percentage that we're looking at. As of today, in Broward County, we were sitting at 13%. So obviously, we've got a long way to go. And it's not like, hey, we're going to hit 5% and the next day say we're going. I think it's going to need to be a steady 5%. Some people have asked, well, what happens? The school district is going to distance learning. Does that mean the sports are off? We are following the leadership up in Gainesville, not necessarily agreeing with much that they're deciding, but we are following what they're asking of the 67 counties. I can tell you this, that in Broward, we're going to do what's in the best interest of our population. As you guys know, we are very much in the epicenter of this pandemic. In comparisons to countries across the world, I think Florida ranks number 5 now out of all the countries in the world with the number of positive cases. Some people are taking it very seriously. Some are doing it where they're living their normal routine of life. We're going to very much take it as a very serious situation. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're going to continue to meet with cabinet, and if the FHSA says, hey, look, we're going to move forward on August 24th, I don't anticipate us, actually, I can guarantee that we're not going to move forward on the 24th, that we'll be waiting, and we'll be waiting, and we'll be waiting until we get to the 5% number. Going back to like what happens if we're distance learning, if we get to 5% and there's a decision that we're going to stay home until January, but let's just say we're at 5% in October and we wait a little bit, there is a strong likelihood that there could be a decision that we would bring athletes back. But you guys as an organization are going to have a 2-month heads up. What's going to happen is that we'll ultimately make the decision as a school district and the BCAA, and then we'll notify all of our members and the associations that support us that we're 2 weeks away from starting voluntary workouts. Then we're going to have about 2 weeks of voluntary workouts, and then we're going to go into structured practices. And I would think that those practices would be at a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks. And then if we can do competitive play, then that's when we would do it. But like I said, once we make that decision, this particular association will be guaranteed a minimum of 7 weeks, probably more. We recognize that there are some people that are ready to go back and some people that are not. We are giving our athletes and our coaches choice. We will be asking the kids and the coaches and the officials. We do have a release that we will be handing out. We're not forcing anyone to sign the release, but ultimately we are trying to educate people that, you know, there is some risk to this. When we do go back, like I said, there's going to be 2 months before we bring the associations back from officiating. We'll have to assess the situation with the number of officials that want to move forward. And then also we're going to have to look at the scheduling. Ultimately, we may not be part of the state series championship. We may be a part of it, we may not. If we're not, then we have a commitment that if we do go back, that we would put a competitive season together, and it would probably be in the south portion of the state. We have had conversations with different counties, and they seemed amenable to that, but that's still a long way down the road. What we can guarantee for the officials is that many of the things that you guys have been requesting for years obviously will be in place. One thing is we need to have you guys comfortable. We will have leadership from this group. I know Mr. Butler has volunteered to be a part of our task force, and we appreciate Tyrone identifying him. So we'll be sitting on our committee once we get to the point of going back to competitive play and what that looks like. If the opportunity arises, we will have a place for the officials to go in, stay, you know, a room, and then ultimately go out to the field. But, you know, once again, you guys need to have a strong voice on what this is looking like. We already have a blueprint put in place, but we're going to want to put all the finite details there. We can't say that we're going to have competitive seasons. We don't know if we're going to have fans. There's a lot of uncertainty. Like in the video mentioned, I mean, you have Illinois that's strongly considering shutting things down. You know, you already have New Mexico, you have California. I don't know where Florida stands. Once again, we're all watching what the FHSAA does. But like I said, we do need to bring some sense of athletics back to the kids and back to the adults whenever we can. The other piece is that there's a strong commitment and 100% guarantee that the Broward County Athletic Association, along with their members, will be paying the officials at the agreed upon amount that the FHSAA set by the task force. We will be paying that rate that was agreed upon at the maximum. You know, also, I just want to close by saying that one of the hardest parts about this is that it's constantly evolving. It's a very fluid situation, as you guys know. As an association, you're trying to do your own thing. You know, sending out communications and sending out the plan. You know, one day, today's August 3rd, by August 5th, it's obsolete. So we're trying not to create chaos and confusion. Rocky is setting up conversations. He's already had one call with the fall coaches. Like I mentioned, we have weekly calls with the athletic directors and athletic trainers. I appreciate the opportunity to come on with this association and give you guys an update. Ultimately, like I said, we're not looking to put anybody in harm's way. Obviously, there'll be choice when we get to that point. And we're going to want to hear your voice through Mr. Butler when he's participating in the committee work we'll be looking for. At this point, I'll open it up. Tyrone, if you guys have any questions or concerns or anything that you guys want to bring to our attention, if I can't answer, or Rocky or Ty can't, we'll be certain to get back to you in writing by tomorrow on a follow-up.
Hey, Shaun, this is Scott Singer. I'm trying to moderate any questions that come in from the membership. If you could hang with us for just a little bit, because we switched platforms, I
Yeah.
understand it may be that different folks are in different Facebook windows. So at least the one that I'm in has about 21 people in it, and you can put any questions that you have into that, and I'll ask those to Shaun and Rocky and Ty. And there's also about a 15-second or so delay between the Zoom and the Facebook. So if you do have questions, please put them in the Facebook window. You can also text me if you have my cell phone for the membership. And I do have one question to start with, Shaun, and that is about the status of rule books given the change in the distribution process this year. If you could provide any kind of update about rule book availability.
I'm going to defer that one to Rocky. Rocky, are you on the call and available to speak to that?
Yes, I can. So I'll answer that, and I'll tell you right now that the rule books have arrived to our office from the FHSAA, and they are ready to be picked up. I will actually be in the office tomorrow between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 p.m., as well as on Thursday from approximately 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And Rocky, before I give it back to Scott or anyone else that has any questions, I wanted to give you an opportunity, or Ty, was there anything that you wanted to share with the group while we're on the call that I may have missed or that you want to expand on?
Not exactly. I just wanted to make sure that the officials know that when we're preparing and looking into the safety of all the participants, we definitely consider them a participant and would love as much input as possible from them as well, as we try to move forward to make sure that we have protocols in place that keep everyone safe, which includes them.
I agree with that too, Rocky. I mean, I'm the keeper of the documents right now, keeping everything kind of organized. So I'll keep updating that as we move along. As you said, it's a very fluid situation.
All right, Scott, we appreciate the question, and we can also work with your team to get those books to you if for some reason someone can't swing by Pompano to pick them up.
Okay, we appreciate that. I am going to, if we can just have you hang on just a little bit, I do want to provide members any opportunity to submit questions through the chat box. Was Anthony Smith, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I just want to ask, I know we were doing it through chat, but looks like he needs to go. I want to ask quick, as far as the registration with the FHSA and us possibly breaking away from the FHSA, I know what was said a few days ago. Where are we today?
We are exploring all of our options, and we are continuing to have conversations with outside counties and also internally. I believe that if you guys register with the FHSA, you're taking a risk of not getting 100% of your money back if we don't have a season. Ultimately, I don't advise you on not doing it or doing it. That's going to be an individual choice decision. But I think that we need to closely monitor their meetings, especially in the upcoming weeks, because if they leave South Florida behind in their decision making, there is going to be a movement to explore other ways to better support our students, coaches, officials, and so on. You know, I'm just going to say it, and I know that they can watch later on, but, you know, we've been incredibly disappointed with the leadership of FHSAA. I haven't really had any communication with them unless we're reaching out to them. I really shouldn't have to reach out to them. There should be open lines with the 67 counties. Rocky is our ambassador. They know him pretty well, and he has been afforded the opportunity to serve on a task force. But in good standing, you know, we feel like we're a county that contributes in a big way, not only with our officials, but with our coaches, athletes, and administration. And, you know, I'm not going to speak for other counties, but I know that there's a lot of angst and disappointment, and some counties are looking to 100% break away from the FHSAA. And I'm not going to sit here and say that we're not one of them. But we are looking at all of our options. And but there also is legislation tied to FHSA, and we understand we need to be open-minded and open-hearted, but we just can't put our athletes and our adults at risk, especially when we're sitting at 13%. I don't really care what's going on in the Panhandle, and I really don't care how much money certain schools or certain counties have to lose. We can't put anybody's life in harm's way, and that is, more at home now that we've lost two of our own. We've lost a couple coaches and ultimately got an athletic director in the hospital, and we're not going to jeopardize anyone, for a sport. I mean, we do want to get back because we all want to get back. There's no one that wants to get back more than us, but we just can't do it and have the ability to sleep at night in a good way. So I'm not skirting around your question. You know how I feel, but I don't want to tell you not to register with the FHSA, and then we go back and you're like, what happened? But I also don't want you to throw your good money away if they're not going to be doing right by you and reimbursing you 100% if we don't compete. That's something the membership has to evaluate and come to their own conclusion. But Tyrone and I had a really good conversation about this last week, and he can help guide you on that.
Thanks. I wasn't just asking for me. I was asking for the membership.
No, and listen, I know you're a valued and respected an official and a leader of this organization, and so I appreciate the question, and I appreciate you.
Okay, thanks.
Shaun, there's another question about, we've heard different responses maybe coming from non-BCAA schools or other private schools. And just curious if you've had any contact or information about whether they're following the BCAA's lead or doing their own thing, or any updates that you can provide.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the question. That's a really good one. As you guys know, St. Thomas and Cardinal Gibbons, Pines Charter and Coral Springs Charter are all part of the BCAA and are very, very much aligned with our thinking and movement forward. I have personally been in direct contact with American Heritage Chaminade University School, just to name a few. All three of their athletic directors and school administration is very much in line with what we're doing as well. I can't speak for some of the others. In transparency, I haven't talked to them. But if we are, hearing any ramblings that some of these schools are going back to practice or considering, there is a commitment on behalf of myself and our office to reach out to them just to try to grab their mindset. But I know that some of their charter schools are really pressing for bricks and mortar, where they want the kids and the staff back. Fortunately, that's not the case with a lot of the Broward charter schools, but there are a few, and I don't really have any jurisdiction or say over what they do. So yeah, we're right now the ones that we have spoken to, and Rocky, I don't know if you want to expand on that because you may have had some additional conversations, but like I said, the schools that I did mention, I know are not only part of our task force and our commitment to putting a blueprint together, but also have been communication with us on a weekly basis.
So the only school that I've heard that may be trying to do something outside of the norm with us would be North Broward Prep. But other than that, every school that you mentioned, we've been in communication with, and they're trying to stay in line with what the BCAA is doing.
Great. Thank you, guys. I understand in a different window, Jeff Solomon, I think, is able to see a couple questions. So I'll ask Jeff to ask those questions he's seen from members.
Can you guys hear me? Hello? Can you guys hear me? All right, there is one question I saw, that if an official opts out of the season, are they going to be penalized, such for example as their time of service and stuff? Or that might be a question more for the FSAA or the board itself, but they wanted to get Shaun and Rocky's thought on that as well.
Well, I don't have any decision making with that, but I will say that, I mean, if somebody has some underlying medical conditions or just doesn't want to put themselves at risk because of what's going on, I got to tell you, I don't blame them. So, in my opinion, they shouldn't be penalized, but I want to be transparent. I don't have any say or ability to make that call. I will say that if we did, we would be supporting their wish and desire to opt out 100%. Rocky, I defer to you on that. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
I mean, I totally agree with you, Shaun, and I'll tell you guys, from the most part, the FHSA has talked about being lenient and not penalizing people for situations during this time. But again, that's not our call. That would be between them to make that decision.
Okay.
And the only other I'm seeing is from the soccer commissioners asking if they have your rule books as well. If you have their rule books as well from Barry's on one of our feeds.
No, the only ones that came in were football and volleyball.
All right, and that's all I'm seeing on some of the other Facebook feeds.
Okay, so Shaun, Rocky, and Ty, we appreciate you coming on and spending time. I know you're working to make sure we have a safe environment to hopefully resume a football season, and we look forward to your updates and sharing information. And if we do have members who perhaps had questions in another window or something that we didn't see, we can get those to you via email for response and follow-up, I'm sure.
Yeah, that would be outstanding. And we're happy to come back when you have future meetings. If you want us to be we can provide a consistent update. I'll leave that up to the association and the leadership within. If it's all right, may I just close with one quick statement?
Sure.
Yeah, I want to say that going into my 28th year within the school district, we all have experienced different interactions with each other. And if there's one thing that resonates with me now that I'm living through my first pandemic with all of you, is that I have a greater appreciation not only for my life, but for yours. And, I'm looking forward to the day that I can actually interact with you again in person. And ultimately, in life, we all have made some really good decisions, and there's some that we regret. But the one thing is that we all have the ability to treat each other with respect and ultimately really make every effort to support not only our personal growth, but our connection to each other. So, I'm looking forward to a post-pandemic life where I have the pre-pandemic Shaun Cerra and the post-pandemic. And I will say this, that the next time that I see you and we can do it safely, I'm looking to, shake your hand and embrace each other, because ultimately, like I said, I personally have made some mistakes over the years, but I'm looking forward to rebuilding any relationships that are strained and continuing the ones that are in good standing. So you guys be safe, be healthy, and please know that when we do launch, we're going to have your best interests at heart. And we do understand that you have a choice, but ultimately you will have a voice in what this looks like. And we will continue to keep the lines of communication open with Tyrone and Vince, and then with Nick Butler, to make sure that you guys are well represented. So thanks for having us on. Like I said, we're committed to joining again in the future.
All right. Thank you guys very much, and continue to be safe and be well.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to switch gears just for a minute. You may have noticed Vince pushed out a link about a week or so ago that we opened up. Some of the members have asked about their NASO membership. If you have the group membership through the BFOA, that membership runs through August 15th. Some folks use that for other sports as well. You can go to browardfootball.com. About the third or fourth link down is the NASO renewal. We continue to get a group discount. I believe it's $87. It's about a $29 savings over the individual membership. If you do want to, I know there's uncertainty about seasons and whatnot, but there is a deadline for the group membership, which is next Monday is when we have to submit those. So if you do want to renew your NASO membership, you can do that outside of the dues process by going to browardfootball.com. Please do that by this coming weekend, Sunday night, because I'll be submitting the money and the names to NASO for the renewal of the membership or new membership if you're not currently a member. You can find information on that link about what the benefits of NASO membership are in case you're not familiar with it. And I think Vince is planning to share a very brief video here about the insurance provisions as part of your NASO membership.
Many officials work several sports at multiple levels. NASO has the only comprehensive insurance that covers you no matter what. Even if you have liability insurance through another organization, you might not be covered for your youth, club, or small college assignments. You don't ever need to wonder if you're protected because you'll know NASO always has your back every game, every level, every sport.
And I don't see any other questions at this point, so I think, Tommy, you're up.
My training presentation tonight deals with the administration of penalties, beginning with the referee of a middle school, of a youth league game, middle school, JV, varsity. It's incumbent upon the referee to know the penalty administrations. After any foul that is not obvious, ask the head coach, not the captain. You are wasting your time giving the options to the captain. All he'll do is look over at the coach to find out what's going to happen. Any foul that occurs before a kickoff or before a snap is a dead ball foul, and it will be administered from the dead ball spot. On a kickoff, if the kickoff goes out of bounds, untouched by the receivers, the receivers have four choices. The first one is re-kick from the 40 with a 5-yard penalty. And that will also, every one that I give you will be the re-kick with a 5-yard penalty if they want to. The second one would be take the ball where it went out of bounds at the hash mark. The third one is if the ball goes out of bounds from the 1-yard line, from R's 1-yard line to R's 30, R can elect to snap the ball at the 35-yard line. You're adding 5 yards from where it went out of bounds on the 30. If it goes out of bounds on the 31, they can snap the ball on the 36. And the last choice is they can take the ball 5 yards in advance from wherever it goes out of bounds. If the receivers commit a foul during the kick on a kickoff, the penalty will be walked off from the previous spot, K's 40. If the kickers commit a live ball foul during the kick on the kickoff, R has 2 choices. Penalize K from the previous spot, the 40, and re-kick, or penalize K from the end of R1's run back. If the defense fouls during a running play, the penalty will be walked off from the end of the run, no matter where B fouls. If the offense fouls during a running play, the penalty will be walked off from the spot of the foul or the end of the run, whichever hurts the offense more. This is called the all but one principle. If the ball becomes loose behind the offensive line and B1 fouls during the loose ball play and A1 falls on the ball, the penalty will be walked off from the previous spot, not where A1 fell on the ball. If the offense fouls during loose ball play behind the line, the penalty will be walked off from the spot of the foul. This is called the all but one principle. If the passer is rough during a completed pass and there has been no change of possession during the down, penalize B 15 yards from where the ball becomes dead, and it's an automatic first down. If both teams foul before a change of possession, the result will be a double foul and replay the down. But if B or R gets the ball with clean hands before they foul, they can decline A's or R's foul, A's or K's foul, and keep the ball after being penalized. If a team scores a TD and the opponent fouls at the snap or right after the snap, well, in that scoring play, the TD counts, and the offending team will be penalized on the try or on the kickoff. If A or B or K or R commit two live ball fouls during the down, they're called a multiple foul, the offended team can choose whichever foul hurts the other team more. If B1 intercepts A's pass in B's end zone and A2 twists B1's face mask as he is tackled in B's end zone, the penalty will be walked off from B's 20, which will result in 1st and 10 for B on B's 35-yard line. And the last one, if the team in possession fouls in their end zone, the result of the play will be a safety no matter where the ball becomes dead. Now, I know there are a lot more rules that I could go over, but I'm going to stop there.
Okay. We could still do the breakout sessions. I don't know if the hosts are all out there or not. I'm going to go ahead and do that now so you can go to breakouts. And if there's nobody out there, then I guess you guys go home.